Good morning, and welcome to another Monday message. And it's been a few weeks since I've actually popped in here because I was away for a couple of weeks, a couple of Mondays anyway. So welcome back. And for those of you who might be tuning in for the first time, I'm Rebecca. I'm a homeopath. I'm a QTT practitioner. I'm a holistic health and life coach and mentor, and I use all of my skills to help support as many women as possible to become as conscious as they can of what's working in their lives and what's not working so well, and to do more of what works and less of what doesn't. So my Monday messages are just about sharing some thought or practice to help support that. So just welcoming anybody who's joining me live. You're welcome to pop in your comments, your questions, your experiences as we go along. And for anyone who might be watching the replay, please do the same, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So today I wanted to focus on the concept of radical resting. And it's a lovely term that I've embraced, really, because I've just read this wonderful book. I don't know, it's probably coming up backwards, don't know. It's called Wise Power. It's by two very talented women, Alexandra Pope and Shani Hugo Wurlitzer. And they both, between them, run something called the Red School. And I urge you to actually log on to their website. They've got so much rich material there, wonderful podcasts and books and all sorts of content that really helps us to reconnect with our natural rhythms, our natural cycle, both our menstrual cycle when we're younger and menopause. And the book Wise Power is very much focusing on the skills that we need in order to navigate menopause as successfully as possible. So that's what I wanted to focus on today, is one of their phrases, which is the concept of radical resting. And so called because it is actually quite an alien concept to a lot of women. And it was to me many years ago. It's not an alien concept anymore, but I will admit that I do find it quite difficult at times to remember to practice. So my purpose today is to actually help you to start practicing as soon as possible, whether you're in menopause, approaching menopause, even coming out the other side of it, doesn't matter. And actually our premenstrual part of our cycle is very much in that in a similar energy as a lot of the menopausal period in our lives, and it invites us to really slow things down, to really take the foot off the pedal and just allow ourselves to do nothing, to do it for prolonged periods as well. So for much more than we've been used to, hence the term radical, I think. And that can be a very difficult mind shift for a lot of women. We're surrounded by the whole of society encouraging us to do, and keep those lists going, those to-do lists, and that perhaps where we came from, the value systems that we've embraced are very much about productivity, and that being equated to our sense of value, our sense of self. Who am I if I'm not doing something, mostly for other people, actually, and that if I do stuff for myself, if I focus on myself, I'm selfish. And that that's not what a good mother does, or it's not what a good wife does, or a good partner, a good woman, basically. And I want to assure you that changing our mindset on that and really embracing the concept of just being quiet and going inwards and really listening to ourselves and all the things that are inevitably coming up, especially during menopause, where our whole body and our soul is inviting us to change, to make changes, as our physiological selves is readjusting and recalibrating to a whole new period in our lives. We ignore those changes at our peril. And the women that I've worked with to support during menopause and both approaching it, coming through it, and even afterwards, and before that, actually, the women who really do embrace this concept of it's okay to do nothing, and that in fact it's an essential part of being creative and being productive, and that if we don't allow ourselves that slowing down, resting time of doing nothing, of just maybe embracing all our senses, so preferably outside, just hearing the birds and smelling the smells and feeling the wind and the sun on our face or the rain or whatever it is, and just being still and putting to one side those to-do lists and saying no to things is not only essential for self-care, for maintenance, for actually being a whole human being, but also it allows us to actually use our energy much more productively, much more creatively when we're not needing to rest, when we're actually in a kind of more doing energy. And we cannot have that doing creative energy without that resting. Just as the seasons tell us this, if we think about all the plants and trees during winter, they are really jettisoning, getting rid of everything external, all that glittery stuff, the blooms and the leaves and anything that isn't necessary and that actually takes a lot of energy to maintain. That external stuff goes, and the focus is all on the inside and all the changes that are taking place in order for new life to come out during spring, which is what we're in now, seasonally. We are like that too. And menopause is not called the change for nothing. I've said that many times. And if we ignore the fact that our energy during this time needs to be focused inwards much more than previously, if we ignore that, then the chances are that those uncomfortable expressions of this change, so the hot flushes, the insomnia, the anxiety, all of those things that can happen during menopause, will actually be experienced in a much more intense, much more frequent manner, because we're not listening. We're just not connected to ourselves. And if we can do that, and I have noticed a big difference between the women I work with who do embrace this concept and the women who don't, the women who just find it impossible to do that. And what I should add is that this is why I actually put together my Polaris package with the idea of supporting women through this period of change on every level. So physically, emotionally, spiritually, all of it is up for grabs. And in order to actually have clarity over what we want to keep in our lives and what we want to jettison, and whether we want to do that just on a temporary basis or whether we want to do it long term, we have to stop. Because if we're just still doing, then we're in automatic. We're not thinking about things. We're just doing what we've always done. And so trying to battle with what's going on internally and to ignore it and to tell ourselves that we're just going to carry on as normal is counterproductive, I can assure you. I've experienced that myself. So what I wanted to do today was invite you all, no matter where you are in your cycling life, to start embracing that concept of radical resting and do it as much as you possibly can and feel the benefits of it. So perhaps if you're struggling with that and all those voices are coming in and saying, there's too much to do, I've got a long list, there's not enough time, I haven't got any time to rest, then just park those for a second. And I just want you to think about an occasion in your life, a memory that you may have of when you have really sunk into resting. For lots of us, that will be maybe when we're on holiday, because somehow we're allowed to do that when we're on holiday. So maybe it's just lying in the sun on a beach or by a lake or in a field or whatever, and not doing anything, not even reading, with the eyes closed, listening to the sounds, feeling the feelings on your skin, the sun, the warmth on your body, slight breeze, maybe hearing those bees buzzing or birds tweeting in the background, the soft ocean waves beating on the shore, whatever it is, just really immerse yourself in that memory, whatever that is for you, and feel in every cell in your body what that feels like, how good that feels. And ask yourself, why can't you have more of that? What is the purpose of stopping and holidaying? It's so we can recharge. It's so that we can rest, so that we can actually rest every part of our body and our minds. And then we are invited to rejoin our lives, reinvigorated, more creative, more productive. And that's exactly what this period of menopause is asking us to do, but in a more prolonged way, because we're changing everything. Everything is up for grabs. So now you've understood that you have done it in your life and you have benefited from it, and that you can continue to benefit from it, then I'm just going to ask you to just journal for this week or for longer on 3 questions. So just ask yourself, what are you choosing, or what am I choosing to believe about the idea of doing nothing? Maybe there's values, beliefs that are all around the concept of not doing, of doing nothing. Where do they come from? Whose voice do you hear when you hear them? And the second question is to ask yourself, well, okay, if I've taken on those beliefs and I can see where they came from, and I can see how long they've been there maybe, or maybe even if I can't, I know that they've come from somewhere. How are they serving me? How are they supporting me right now, where I am in my life right now? Now, there will be, inevitably, there will be some value in those voices, in those beliefs, in those values, if you like. They can be very useful when we've got a lot to do and we need to be productive, we need to be creative. Absolutely. But if they're out all the time and they're running things all the time, they become counterproductive because they don't allow us the time to recharge and to freshen and to have new ideas and to be open to new concepts and new ways of feeling and of being and of doing. So the third question then is, so what could I choose to believe instead that would actually support me better now I know that it is important for me to really take long periods of radical rest. Now I understand the value of that and the fact that I need to conserve my energy more than usual. And I may need to do that for a very prolonged period in order to come out with greater power and greater clarity and greater creativity. And I'm going to gift myself that. So what can I choose to believe instead of those old beliefs that were perhaps not serving me very well? So that's it for today, just to start the process of embracing really deep, prolonged periods of resting, of just being. And ask yourself, how much of that do you have in your life already? And how much more could you introduce? And what benefits would come from that? That's it for today. If you do want to know more about my Polaris package, then click on the link with this video, or it's in my bio if you're watching on Instagram. And also I'm going to pop in a link to the Red School, because they're really worth following and looking at the website. They've got some great podcasts with fantastic women and lots of really good content. So take a look at that too. Okay, have a wonderful week, and do let me know how you get on with those questions. Thanks very much. Bye.